Hello everybody. Welcome to my presentation on Western type frequency meter. Western type frequency meter is used to measure frequency of the supply to which it is connected to. I am Swati Kulasa, lecturer in electrical engineering, Sanjay Gandhi Government Polytechnic, Adilabad. So first we will see what is frequency. Is it number of cycles per second, number of revolutions per minute, or flux per unit area, or none of the above? So far you must have known that frequency is number of cycles per second. So we'll have a very good understanding on frequency now. Hope you can see the axis that I'm drawing on the right side. And you can see an alternating supply over here. So say this is voltage. And this is time. It's in omega t. So we have, this is time period because you have cycle started from this point and it ends at this point, and this goes on because it's a cyclic function. You know, sinusoidal is a cyclic function. You will have this portion of the wave repeating again and again. So the time taken for one complete cycle is what we call it as time period, and frequency is 1 by time period. So we have one complete cycle in t seconds. So the frequency is what we call as number of cycles per second. That means for 1 second, how many cycles the wave covers is what we call as frequency. So frequency is number of cycles per second. After understanding clearly about the frequency, so now you know we have to measure the frequency of the supply. So let us see how. Before going, what are the units of frequency? Units of frequency, is it A, cycles per second, or is it B, hertz, or is it both A and B, or none of the above? Units of frequency is cycles per second and also hertz. That means both A and B. Now we will see what is this Western type frequency meter, to which category it comes to. It is a moving iron instrument. We have already seen about a moving iron instrument in my previous video lectures. So we have seen that there will be an iron piece moving. That means moving system comprises of an iron piece or some iron piece, and then you will be having coil stationary. So this actually hints us that we are going to have moving system as some iron piece, and we are also going to have a coil, but the coil is going to be stationary. Then just briefly, we have to understand a common fundamental principle based on which this Weston type frequency meter works. And it is when frequency changes, the impedance of an inductive circuit varies. So let us try to understand this fundamental principle once again in detail. With some examples, we see. So we know that if you have inductive circuit, say if you have an inductor L, now the impedance or the reactance of this inductor is given by XL, and the formula for this in reactance of inductor is given by 2 pi F into L. So what does that mean? It means that the reactance is directly proportional to F here. Now, because for the construction of an inductor, inductance of the inductor will be same. So, L is going to be constant. So, the reactance offered by the inductor will vary according to the frequency. Now, if you increase the frequency, the reactance of inductor will also increase. If you reduce the frequency, the reactance of the inductor will get reduced. Now, inductive circuit may have resistor and inductor, something like this. Now, the resistor is an element whose resistance is not dependent on frequency at all. It is going to be constant. Hence, if frequency increases, say Z is the impedance of this circuit shown. If frequency increases, let this be L, the XL which we have discussed. So the frequency increases, for which R is going to be constant, but the reactance of the inductor will increase. Ultimately, R plus omega L, J omega L, that means R plus J XL. XL increases, so impedance will also get increased. Now, if frequency reduces, the impedance will get reduced. So this is a fundamental principle we should know, that if frequency increases, the reactance of inductive circuit or inductance of a inductor will increase. If you have an inductive circuit, then the impedance will increase. Similarly, if frequency reduces, the reactance of inductor will get reduced. If you have an inductive circuit, the impedance of the inductive circuit will get reduced. So after understanding this, let us go to the next slide. Here we see the construction of Weston type frequency meter. Before going to theory and all, let us just try to understand or try to name what are all different parts you see on the screen right now. I'll give around a minute or 60 seconds of time. You just try to trace out what are all the parts you can see in this figure. All right. Hope you have got some idea after viewing this figure. Let you just check out whether you got the good and correct idea or not. So here you can see this is the moving system. For this moving system, you have an iron strip, soft iron strip, and to this soft iron strip, we have a needle attached. If we see what is the angle between the needle and the soft iron strip, it is exactly 45 degree. So the angle between iron strip and the needle is 45 degree, and this needle is free to move over the calibrated scale shown here. Left side we have higher frequencies, the right side we have lower frequency, and the center is zero. I'm sorry, normal frequency. It's not zero. It is normal frequency. So normal frequency, lower frequency, and higher frequencies. This is how we have. And you can see that we have coil A. You can see the coil A is bound about this horizontal axis, and this is how the coil A is wound. You can see that the conductor in coil A is vertical to your view, and you can see that there are two coils for coil A which are connected in series, two sections here, and we have coil B. Coil B, the conductor of coil B is horizontal. This is wound about a vertical axis. So you can see the axis that is in blue color, it is axis of coil B, and axis of coil A is horizontal. Once we have understood the parts, let us see there are some other elements here connected in the circuit of Western type frequency meter. We see a inductor and a resistor connected to each coils, and we have another inductor which is connected to the whole circuit in series. So first we'll see that how these circuit of coil A is. You can see that coil A is having resistance in series. So resistance RA is in series with coil A, and to this circuit we have LA connected in parallel. So LA is connected in parallel to the series connection of RA and coil A. Similarly, we have coil B. Coil B is connected in series with LB, and to this combination we have RB connected in parallel. If so, I think you have understood this. And we have an inductor connected in series with this whole circuit. Hope you are clear with this figure. We'll see it again. So it consists of two coils A and B. The coils are mounted perpendicular to each other. So we can see that the coils are mounted perpendicular to each other. The coil A, the conductors of coil A Vertical conductors of coil B are horizontal, which means both are mounted perpendicular to each other. Each coil is divided into two sections. We have seen that coil A is split to two sections, coil B is split to two sections. Coil A has resistance Ra in series with it, and to this, so you can see this same Ra is in series with coil A, and the circuit of coil A is in parallel with reactance La. So La is parallel to this circuit. Coil B has a reactance Lb in series with it. So coil B has a reactance Lb. Actually, I should call it as an inductor Lb. So this is inductor Lb. This is inductor La. Inductor Lb is connected in series with coil B. And the circuit of this complete B is in parallel with resistance Rb. And you can see a soft iron needle forms the moving element. The needle is pivoted on a spindle. Spindle carries a pointer and damping vanes. So damping is provided by these vanes. So pneumatic damping or air friction damping. Now, there is no controlling torque. Actually, there is no controlling torque required. Once you understand the principle, you will understand that there is no controlling required, but the spindle may oscillate, hence damping is required, and it is provided by the damping vanes. Series reactance L. So we have also seen that the whole circuit is connected in series with inductor L. So that series reactance of L acts to suppress higher harmonics in the current of the instrument. So to suppress the higher harmonics in the current, the series reactance L is used. Higher harmonics means the components of current which have frequencies higher than the supply frequency to which it is connected. Those are what we call as higher harmonics, and they are suppressed with the help of the series reactance. It minimizes the waveform errors in its indication. So let us see the working. The two coils A and B carry current when the meter is connected across supply. So when the meter is connected across the supply, we see that there will be currents flowing through coil A and coil B. These currents set up two magnetic fields. We know that a current carrying conductor produces magnetic field, and you might have also seen the solenoid. When a solenoid carries current, how is the direction of the magnetic field? Let us see. Let us have the revision of solenoid again here. Say this is the core, and to the core we have coil as shown, in this manner. Now if current is flowing in this way, then how will be the magnetic field? So the magnetic field is going to be as shown. You have magnetic fields like this. So you'll have magnetic fields as shown in the figure. Hope you can see the figure. Which means you have north pole set up here and south pole set up here. This indicates that if conductor is vertical, if we want to discuss about the axis of this coil, the axis of the coil will be something like this. Now, if current magnitude increases, the magnetic field also increase, and the magnetic field will be strong inside the coil. So it is in the direction of the axis of the coil. So from north to south here. So you will have magnetic field in this direction. The more. So more is the current flow, the magnetic field strength increases. Similarly, coming to our instrument here, for this measuring instrument, if current through coil increases, the magnetic field intensity will increase, that too in the direction of the axis of the coil. If current through coil B increases, so we'll have the axis as shown here. Now let us just go further. If suppose we just cut open the coil B and we just excite coil A, then what happens? Let us see. If coil A is excited and coil B carries zero current, then there will be magnetic field set up by coil A, just coil A. Then how will be the magnetic field? Please check in the figure. For by coil A, magnetic field will be as shown in the figure. So it may be this way. Actually, because we give alternating currents, the flux direction will get reversal. There will be flux reversals. But the soft iron piece will get aligned as shown in figure. So this iron piece will get attracted towards the field. So it is stronger at the center. So what happens is the iron strip will turn counterclockwise and it will try to attain the position that is shown here. So the iron strip, when only coil A is excited, the iron strip will come to the horizontal position. Why? Because it gets attracted to the magnetic field produced by the coil A. So it is about the axis of coil A and hence it aligns to the axis of coil A, which means the pointer will try to move in anti-clockwise direction. This is what we have to remember. So we have to remember that when current through coil A increases, so IA, when current through coil A increases, so we see that iron strip is moving in anti-clockwise direction, or pointer. So how the pointer is moving? Pointer moves in anti-clockwise direction. Similarly, we will try to understand what happens if coil A is left open and coil B is excited. If coil B is excited, then we'll see what happens. The current through coil A is 0 and coil B is excited. Now, if coil B, where is coil B? So this is coil B, horizontal coil. Now the magnetic field will be as shown in figure. Now we know the flux will get reversed all the times as it enters the alternate half cycle. Ultimately, we are going to have more magnetic field aligned to this axis of coil B. So your iron strip will get attracted to this. So it will try to move in a clockwise direction. When it moves in a clockwise direction, you will have the pointer also moving in a clockwise direction. So let us summarize that one also. So if current through coil B increases, it is not T, it is increases. Then what happens? Pointer will try to move in clockwise direction. So after summarizing these two, we will go for further explanation of frequency meter. Hope you understood this simple concept. Now we see that when we connect this circuit to some supply, supply will be connected across these two terminals. Then there will be current flow here. You can see there is a split of current. That means you will have currents flowing through coil A as well as coil B. So when current is flowing through coil A and coil B, we will have magnetic fields produced by coil A as well as coil B. But then how are the magnetic fields? The magnetic fields are exactly 90 degrees to each other. So magnetic field produced by coil A will be stronger in the axis of coil A, and magnetic field produced by coil B will be in this way, aligned to axis of coil B. So both are 90 degree to each other. Now, so when a current flows through the two coils which are perpendicular to each other, due to these currents, some magnetic fields will produce, and thus magnetic needle will deflect towards the stronger magnetic field, showing the measurement of frequency on the meter. So this is the working principle of the Weston type frequency meter. So we have seen that when currents in both the coils flow, then you will have two magnetic fields produced. They are making 90 degree to each other. But the soft iron piece, which is attached to the spindle, it will try to move towards the stronger one. If current through coil A is more than current through coil B, then the soft iron piece will get attracted towards coil A, axis of coil A. So the pointer will try to move in anti-clockwise direction. So that means we have two currents, but the pointer is, when we have only IA, pointer is moving in anti-clockwise. If we have only IB, pointer was moving in clockwise. But if you have both, we have two opposite forces acting on the pointer, and the resultant would be the stronger field side, and hence no control torque is required there. So we don't have any control mechanism here. The magnitude of the field depends upon the value of the current in the coil. As we know, the flux is proportional to the current. More is the current, more will be the magnetic field produced. These fields act on soft iron needle. The needle takes up position. Which position? This position depends upon the relative magnitudes of currents and the two fields. Relative magnitudes of currents, which mean greater side or the stronger field. Now let us see the behavior of the instrument when we give normal frequency. So say it depends on the place where it is used. In India, we generate frequency and we use all our supply at 50 hertz frequency. So our normal frequency would be 50 hertz. Now for normal frequency of the supply, the values of various resistances and inductances are such that the value of voltage drops across reactance LA and resistance RB send equal currents through coils A and B. So we'll see this. This is the construction. We'll see. We have discussed many things here, but we did not discuss on the values of LA, LB, RA, RB. So how the values of LA, LB and RA, RB are decided. So that are decided taking normal frequency into consideration. So if normal frequency supply is connected across the terminals of the Western type frequency meter, then the values of RA, RB, LA, LB are chosen in such a way that the current through coil A should be equals to current through coil B. Now what happens if current through coil A is equals to current through coil B? That means both the magnetic fields are equally strong. Hence, the metal strip will not tend to any direction because both are strong enough equally. So there is no relative magnetic field strength, no difference between the magnetic field strength or no difference between the currents, and hence there won't be any change in movement, change in position of iron strip. So your needle will show only the central point, and this will be showing normal frequency, which is 50 in India. Hope you are clear with this. So when we give normal frequencies, field produced by A is equals to field produced by B. So the iron strip will not get attracted to any place, either to axis of coil B or to axis of coil A, because both the magnetic field strengths are same. So there will be no change in position of iron strip, and hence the needle will stay in position of normal. So this is going to be normal frequency position. Okay. So the values of voltage drops across reactance LA and resistance RB and equal currents through A and B. So the needle takes up a position which is at 45 degree to both the coils. So the position of the needle will be same as shown in the figure. So there won't be much change in the position. It will be aligned as 45 degree to both of the coils. So the pointer is at the center of the scale. That is as shown in the figure. We have seen the figure just now. Let us see the working of frequency meter above normal frequencies. Above normal frequencies means, let us see what happens. So we have more frequency here. More frequency means we'll have reactance is increasing. So where we have more reactance, so we please check on the left panel of the figure. We have more frequency. This implies reactance of LA increased, reactance of LB increased. If we see the current flow through coil A and coil B, let me draw it here. We have seen that this is coil A, suppose. Coil A is connected in series with RA and this is connected in parallel with LA. This is our sub-circuit of coil A. In another circuit for coil B is, we have coil B here and coil B is in series with LB, and to this we have RB in parallel. Now let us see what happens. When we have currents here, how will be the currents through coil A and how will be the currents through coil B? If frequency is increasing, reactance of LA is increasing and reactance of LB is increasing. So actually when currents are flowing, so here and here, because these two circuits are connected in parallel, the currents are flowing and they get split here. So this is how it should get split. Now if this, because frequency is more, this path is offering high impedance. So let me just show it in red. This is having high impedance. Here we have high impedance at LB. So we know that current flows through low impedance path and hence more amount of current will flow through A path, coil A, instead of B here. So we see that current through coil A is more. Why? Because current through LA should be less as LA impedance is increased. Now coming to the circuit of B coil, we have LB in series with B. So the impedance of this circuit is increased. So we have less currents flowing through coil B. Now if you compare the currents IA and IB, out of these two, IA current is greater than IB. When IA current is greater than IB, magnetic field strength of A is higher than magnetic field strength of B. So attraction pull will be more towards coil A, and hence your metal strip will try to move in anti-clockwise direction. That's what we have written here already. If IA is more, pointer will try to move in anti-clockwise direction. So what happens if pointer moves in anti-clockwise direction? So it is showing higher frequency. Hence we just write it is going towards higher frequency on this calibrated scale. We can give these values after calibration also, but it is clearly seen that we have higher frequencies. The pointer showing higher frequencies when the supply frequency is more than the normal frequency. Hope everybody is clear with this concept. Now we have seen above frequencies, reactance of LAs and LB increase. So resistances RA, RB remains the same. Voltage impressed on coil A increases as compared to that of coil B. So the currents increases in coil A and decreases in coil B. Due to this, the needle tends to deflect towards the stronger field. Now the stronger field is field due to coil A. So the needle tends to set itself in line with axis of coil A. The pointer deflects to left or anti-clockwise direction. So there we have higher frequencies mentioned on the calibrated scale. Now let us understand the working of frequency meter for below normal frequencies. Again, we will try to go to the construction slide. Now we will try to summarize how the currents going to be through coil A as well as coil B. Let us draw these circuits again. So for coil A, this is coil A in series with RA, and we have LA. And this is coil B in series with LB. And we have this whole connected across RB. Now we have frequencies below the normal frequency. In such case, reactance of LA decreases, reactance of LB also decreases. Now the resistances will not change, but because low frequencies, the reactance of LA and LB got reduced, and thus when reactances got reduced, the current will also now select the low resistance path. So you will have large amounts of currents flowing through LA instead of through this path. And here we'll have large amounts of currents flowing through LB instead of this path. So you can see that yellow shows small amounts of currents and white shows large amounts of currents. So this current is higher and this current is higher. Now if you compare both of them, we can see that current through IB is greater than current through IA. Current through coil B is greater than current through coil A. Now we have field due to B more stronger compared to field due to A. So the iron strip will try or tend towards axis of coil B, which means this will try to move in clockwise direction, and hence the pointer will also try to move in clockwise direction, representing or indicating lower frequencies. Hope you understood the same. Let us go to the slides. So for frequencies below normal frequency, when the frequency decreases, opposite action takes place. So current in coil B increases than that of coil A, and hence we see pointer deflects towards right, and to the right side we have low frequencies. Now we'll just come to summary of the Weston type frequency meter. It is a moving iron instrument. It shows whether the frequency is high, normal, or low. It works on the principle when frequency changes, the impedance of inductive circuit changes or varies. Now, the Weston type frequency meter consists of two coils A and B. The coils are mounted perpendicular to each other, and hence the fields produced by the coils are also perpendicular to each other. The coil A has resistance Ra in series with it, and coil B has reactance Lb in series with it. There is no hardcore rule that it should be the same. You can have it in vice versa, but the calibrated scale will indicate in opposite manner. We can also have LB here, RA here, LA here, RA here, LB here, RB here. But in such case, your pointer for higher frequency will tend to move in clockwise direction. So this side we have to edit it as higher frequencies, and this side we should edit as lower frequencies. So there is no hardcore rule that we should arrange only in this manner. We can arrange in any manner, but we have to change the calibrated scale and readings and indications. So a soft iron needle forms the moving element. Needle is pivoted on spindle. Spindle carries pointer and damping vanes. The coils A and B carries current when the meter is connected across the supply. These currents set up magnetic fields which are perpendicular to each other. These fields act on soft iron needle. They try to attract. Now the needle takes up a position, and this position depends on relative magnitudes of two fields and the currents. At normal frequencies, the pointer is at center of the scale. It was shown in the figure. For frequencies above normal frequencies, the pointer deflects towards left for the condition of the circuit as mentioned in our figure. Now, if the frequencies are below normal frequencies, the pointer deflects towards right side or clockwise. Hope you have understood the video lecture. The optimistic learning outcomes expected are The listener should be able to explain with a neat sketch the construction and working of Western type frequency meter. Hope you understood the session and the session was helpful. Thank you.